Hello everyone, welcome back to Tina Teach JavaScript 101 Let. Now let's explore what let is and its different nuances compared to var. Let variables have a block scope. They must be declared before use and they cannot be redeclared. So keep in mind these three main points. Variables declared using the let keyword have a block scope and they must be declared before use. They cannot be redeclared, meaning that you cannot go let x, for example, after you've already said let x or let x equals to 5. Moving on to block scope. What exactly is block scope? So block scope refers to the accessibility of variables. In this case, a variable declared inside of a curly bracket cannot be accessed from outside of the curly bracket. The curly bracket in this case defines a section of scope or accessibility that's separate from the global scope. Global scope meaning the whole file. If something is in the global scope, you can use it anywhere. You can use it in the whole file. The moment you use two curly brackets, you've basically created a little world within a big world. You can think of it like a house. Obviously, you cannot just waltz into any house and just take whatever is yours because that's someone else's house. And you can think of scope the exact same way. For example, this is a scope now. That is the extent of a scope. Let x equals to true. Now, x cannot be used here. If you have a function that requires x, that function will probably return an error because it cannot access x. Neither if you put the function down here. All right, so x is only available in this little house that is contained by two curly brackets. Cannot be redeclared. I'm gonna, define this a little bit more. Let's say let x equals to true. So that's the first instance of x and we've already assigned it a value. Now if we write it again, that would be redeclaration. Let x equals to false. This will give you an error, naturally. Like you cannot do such a thing with let and JavaScript won't let you. However, if you replace let with var, that's completely okay. That's completely doable. Moving on to redeclaring variables. This is part 1, all right? Using var can be problematic when you are dealing with block scope. So this is our scope. That's the extent of our scope, if it's a little bit hard for you to see. Var x equals to 4. Now naturally, we're using var, we can redeclare variable, but we cannot use it outside of the scope. If x is equals to 1 at the top, and then bypassing through the scope, x equals to 4. Below here, x will be 4. As you can already imagine, if you're dealing with thousands and thousands of lines of code, how can you keep track of this? How can you keep track where a block scope is? And if you have multiple block scope lines up, then x will constantly be changing value. This introduces so much unpredictability into your file. However, let is here to help. Let x equals to high. By passing through the scope, x is still high. So whatever happens within your neighbor's house, whatever happens within this block scope stays in this block scope and is only accessible like so in this block scope. Moving on to same block redeclaring. Now this may look, a little bit confusing because of the syntax and the way it's, the way it is coded, but let me just highlight this a little bit. So we have two block scopes lined next to each other, two sections. var x equals to 10. So x is, let's not consider this. let's not consider the second part. Let's just deal with the first part. X equals to 10 and X is declared by var. This is okay. That is allowed. And if you redeclare X again using the let keyword, that's okay as well. And then if you declare it again in another block scope using let, that's also okay. Just make sure if X here is 10 and X here is 20, this is 20 and this is 10. However, let's look at the second example. Let X equals to 55. So already starting, we cannot redeclare. And then we redeclare one more time in a block scope. That's not okay. And it is still not okay on any number of, block scopes that you put in. So as long as it's variable, let, that's okay. But starting with let first is a no-no. Moving on to variable x equals to high. And I'm going to create a completely, different section, different scope with variable x equals to 10. And we're actually going to see how, this will play out and what value x does get. So document.getElementById and our inner HTML and x, and as we can see, it is 10. So I'm going to change this a little bit, and I'm going to use phrase hello world, and I'm going to make it let instead of var, and the same goes down here. Let phrase equals to hi there, and we're going to change the x into phrase and see how this all goes. We have a hello world instead of hi there. So that's it for today's lesson. Thank you for tuning in and watching until the end. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and tune in to cons. See you next time.